Hello there, English speakers. Today we'll talk a little bit about kidney stone and strange honey and black cumin from Pakistan, and we'll talk about media and stuff and about you actually. So let's start with taking a big deep breath. So we have got a little bit of snow here, so that's nice. A little bit more light. So kidney stone, there are different types of kidney stones, so don't take this as a certain, but the most common one, you should of course drink a little bit more water, but another thing is that you might have a shortage of vitamin A. Vitamin A is a little bit dangerous. If you eat 10 times more than you need, it's definitely really bad. Don't do that. It's not like vitamin D that you can easily take more than you need of, and it's not a big problem generally speaking. More about that in the vitamin D video. How do you get vitamin A? The simplest one is just from eating liver. So cod-liver oil and beef liver, or if you really don't like those disgusting things, you can eat some liver paté. Just take a little bite to your meal, or I often just take some bites of liver paté now and then. And the good thing is, if I eat too much liver, it starts to taste very bad. So somehow my body can recognize if it has gotten enough of liver. So I don't overdose it by just simply, well, the flavor of it changes when I had enough. So now you don't have to get kidney stones if that's a problem for you. And Thanksgiving, for the first time I got so happy with all the Thanksgiving spirit. I seem to have gotten the most nicest people from USA in the entire world. I think I've had like 4 or 5 trolls that came in and just, giving insults. So very few of the thousands of comments I have gotten. I can't really comment or read all of them. I'm trying. I'm close. I think I've read half of them at least. So I'm trying, but it's really nice, and I really came into the holiday spirit of Thanksgiving, which is really odd because, well, I don't know much about it at all. Only things I have seen in TV shows and so on. So big thank you for that, and I'm still getting a lot of birthday wishes, so thank you for them too. And I even got one Democrat that were commenting. Of course, she didn't like that I was not paying attention to my dog under a video where the dog wasn't there. So that's a little bit odd. But all comments are welcome, and especially if there are any Democrats here, you're very welcome to have a different opinion, and I will not hate you for that. I might say something about how you should think more straight, or maybe I'm wrong. So I'm open for that. And if you're a Democrat, or you have Democrat friends, or you have people who only watch Fox News and think they must be right about stuff, listen to Greg Kelly from Newsmax TV. Very good sum up what media says and what is reality, which kind of differ from each other quite a lot. So he sums up this article from The Federalist that I talked about yesterday, where they really explains that Joe Biden lost everywhere and did worse than Hillary did, except in these 4 really corrupt Democrat-run shitholes. So that's basically what you need to know about the election. And then there's a lot of details that I will not explain to you, because now we'll talk about the plot against the president. They got their Twitter accounts banned. So Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, they are really trying to be total assholes for everyone, and we'll see what Trump can do and others. Trump has tweeted about this section 230, if they can even pretend to be platforms now when they are censoring things that they don't like. It's getting so ridiculous that it's well, really bad. I remind you, follow me on Rumble, Twitter and Facebook and Gab and Minds, so that if this YouTube channel get banned, you can see me elsewhere. But very well done of Greg Kelly, and you don't need to watch that because, well, you know, you know all the things there, I guess, if you're here. But it's a good sum up for 12 minutes or something. And it's interesting that we have a newspaper in Sweden that actually writes about this. So it's called The Good Society, Det Goda Samhället, which is something similar to The Federalist, I guess, but in Sweden. And in Sweden we also now finally an immunologist that says exactly the same things as me. We should stop social distancing, we should stop being afraid of this virus and instead take control of our immune system and improve it. Everything from vitamin A that I just talked about, and vitamin D, of course, 4,000 to 10,000 units per day. Make sure that you are not zinc deficient, which you will become if you eat bread and pasta to every meal. Don't do that. Have 1-2 meals per day where you don't have any wheat. If you want to eat some cinnamon buns for your afternoon tea or your afternoon coffee, that's okay. You can do that. You don't need to be a total health buff or whatever you can call them. But eat your meat and fish without any kind of bread or pasta to it sometimes per day, and you will not be you'll not be zinc deficient. And you can always take some zinc if you're starting to feel ill, to just make sure that you aren't deficient. And then vitamin K2 and all the vitamin B's and so on. Make sure you get them, and liver is one good source of all stuff. So nice that at least one immunologist can think more like an engineer. I had very many nice comments from engineers that see this problem. You have doctors and they think we should all be afraid of each other and stay away because we need to fight this virus in all ways. But if you stay away from everyone else getting depressed and you get this anxiety for this virus that isn't dangerous if you have a good immune system, which everyone can get. Even if you're really fat and you're pre-diabetic and so on, you can fix this in a couple of days by just making sure your blood sugar gets under control, and that's easy. Don't eat a lot of sugar or carbs at the same time. So you can do this, and you don't try to lose weight. That's just stupid. Then you will starve and your immune system will just get worse. All the fat that you have is protecting you from the shit you are eating and drinking. So when you stop eat and drink bad stuff, then your fat will go away because you don't need it anymore. But don't try to starve yourself. It's also a way to make sure that you will eventually get back with your fat. So, sweet stuff, don't eat that. But now in Pakistan they have given people who are moderately sick and very sick in COVID honey, and it's a lot of honey, 1 gram per kilo. So if you don't count in kilos or grams, so 1,000th of your weight. So if your weight is a couple of stones, 1,000 of that weight, and you can do your own imperial math on that. And 80 milligram per kilo of black cumin. I pronounce it cumin. You can pronounce it cumin, but then it sounds like human and it gets confusing. But I heard that American English it's cumin. In Swedish is cumin. So that's even more clear and different from pronunciation of the human. So 80 milligrams per kilo and 1 gram per kilo of honey. And your sickness will last 4 to 3 days less, and a lot more people survive after eating this. Very interesting, and they have some in vitro, that is like laboratory studies, where they have the background on why this works. So if you're really into that, you can read that study, but it's interesting that this works. And if you are more interested in society, I really recommend everyone, just because it's so interesting, to watch this interview with the Prince of Liechtenstein, Michael. And he explained how this tiny country that is way smaller than a normal town, but it's also divided into municipalities, and this is a country where the monarch has a lot of power. So if there is any law that the monarch doesn't like, he has a veto and can say no, you are not allowed to do that. And everyone, or about between 60 and 85% of the people of Liechtenstein thinks that this is a great idea, and they have voted to keep their monarchy strong and with all this great power. One reason is that the municipalities that are very tiny, they have the right to leave Liechtenstein and join Switzerland or Austria if they want, or be independent if they want that. And they have a good process for doing this. So first they vote, should we leave? And if they say yes, then they negotiate for 2 years with, for example, Liechtenstein, and with Switzerland if they want to join Switzerland as their alternative. And then when everything is settled in the negotiations, after 2 years they vote again, and then people can say, is this new way forward that we have now a clear view of how it will look like, because we have been talking about this for 2 years and we had kept an open way out or in. So it's exactly like a cat in the door, you know, when you open a door and the cat is standing in the doorway and don't want to go out or in, which make perfectly sense, of course. Then you have to decide finally, do you want to go out or do you want to go in? So this is the perfect process, and it works exactly like Brexit should have been worked. Generally, if you, for example, walk into a car dealership and you have decided I want that car, that's really stupid. You will not get a good price on that car then, if you have already decided. You have to be able to walk away from this and keep your options as open as you possibly can. So this is how you can learn from good society and apply it for buying a car or whatever, or being in a relationship and everything else. And thank you for your advice. I'm trying to start selling some merchandise. I heard about Teespring, and I know about Coffee Shop and some others. I basically want a company that sells t-shirts, mugs and so on, where I upload an image and then they sell and do everything and send me some money. So that's the plan. Now Biden cheated is trending on Twitter. I guess they will shut that down soon, but I will post this on Twitter with Biden cheated, and with that I'm at the wrong end of the forest, so I have to walk back now. And yeah, people are afraid that there are coming some suspect people behind me all the time, so they sit on their toes and get worried for me, but don't worry. This is a very crowded forest. There are more people in the forest than downtown.